In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. and IT&E.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to another edition of In Full Zoom. I'm Nestor Licanto, and pleased to welcome our guest for this week. We have Ben Ferguson, who is the General Manager of PIC Guam, of course, and along with him is Tuffy Nicholas, who is the producer of the Super American Circus and the President and CEO of Global Entertainment Productions. Thanks for joining us, gentlemen.
So tell me, do you want to go where it's covered in all the colored lights, where the runaways are running the night, impossible comes true, singing over you. We light it up, we won't come down, and the sun can't stop us now. Watching it come true, it's taking over you.
So the circus is coming to town. I want to get you guys to talk a little bit about that. Let me start with you, Ben.
Yeah, so we're excited. As you may have read in the press release, we're ready to open on July 1st. Our relationship with the Super American Circus goes back many years, actually. We've always worked with them as hotel partners whenever they've come out to the island. And in 2019, when they were out here, we began a discussion about having them come in and be a permanent installation here at the hotel, and made a lot of progress in 2019, and we're ready to open the circus in the first quarter of 2020, but then we all know what happened. But yeah, so really interesting relationship that we've developed with these folks. Having the type of demographic of customer that we have is perfectly suited to have a circus here at the PIC.
All right, Tuffy, tell us a little bit more about the circus. What can people expect?
Well, I'm very excited too to be here on Guam. We've been hoping for this opportunity for many years. This show is going to be the biggest show we've ever brought to Guam by far. One of the biggest shows I've ever produced. Motorcycle in the ball of steel, whipping up around upside down and side to side while they're in the cage. A motorcycle on a high wire. With a young lady below the high wire on a trapeze, and they do somersaults, sideways somersaults. The giant wheel of danger. We had that here a few years ago, but I don't think there's ever been a motorcycle stunt team like we have with the Super American Circus that has ever been on Guam before. It's going to be quite a thrilling sight to see.
All right. And Ben, why a circus? And you alluded to it earlier. Is this something that our Asian tourists in particular would be interested in?
Well, I think if you look at PIC and you look at our history, we've made a living in the family market. And if you look at Guam's demographic of customer going back to 2018, 2019, we were trending towards 80% of visitors being with family. And so, of course, PIC was successful in capturing a big part of that crowd. So it's natural that we would have something like this at the hotel. We've always been very family friendly, and if you're a kid, who doesn't like the circus, right?
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. and IT&E.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. and IT&E.
And you guys going to be working under the Tuffy, the big top there, the big tent over at the PIC?
Yes, it's perfect. I mean, it's literally perfect for a circus. Real high ceilings, for the aerial acts, and big trusses to hang the acts from. It's just perfect.
Yeah, and tell us, what does it take to bring a circus all the way out to Guam? What are the special arrangements? And while it's here, what do you guys got to do to make sure that everything runs smoothly?
How much time do we have?
Yeah, don't get him started.
We got about 20 minutes.
Containers from different parts of the world. We're flying in people from literally all over the world, from Eastern Europe to Las Vegas, Florida, LA, and everybody has, they're artists, so they all have special needs with their equipment, how to get it here. Takes a long time to get some stuff from Europe to Guam, by container ship.
Yeah, and so how did you go about making those kind of special arrangements? And how do you gather all these people from all different parts of the world to come to Guam?
Well, it's not hard getting them to Guam, getting them to want to go to Guam for several reasons. One, it's so beautiful here and, such great accommodations. But to be in one place for a circus artist for, we give them 1 year at a time contracts is something desirable for performers. And to be, again, right here in Guam and right by the beach, it's beautiful. So that getting the performers is not that hard for me because I've been doing it my whole life and pretty small industry worldwide. So I know a lot of them. They contact me every day wanting jobs, especially from Europe and different faraway parts of the world.
Yeah, and has the circus evolved, I imagine, from the days of, the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey, the big tops?
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey combined shows the greatest show on earth. Yes, it has evolved a lot. But, back in the day, the circus was mostly about animals. They're sure there were acrobatics too, but it was mostly about, who had the most elephants or who had the most tigers. And it evolved in a modern way where we don't use any animals in our shows. It's people entertaining people is our main motto. And modern lighting, modern sound, modern equipment.
It's interesting that Tuffy says that because on more than one occasion when I let people know that we were going to have a circus at PIC, I was asked that very question. It's like, where are you going to store all of the animals? I know, no animals. And then obviously a great number of people very happy to hear that we weren't going to have animals in the circus.
Yeah, and I imagine a lot of people, particularly from Guam, relate it to what they see in Vegas, right? Because there's a lot of Guamanians in Vegas. Is it kind of similar to that? Like a show you might see in Vegas, kind of like, I forget what the name of the show is at the MGM.
For instance, Cirque du Soleil, for instance.
Yeah.
There's a lot of similarities. We do a lot of the same acts and tricks that they do. We didn't build a $200 million pool, but it is a very similar show to Cirque du Soleil. And we've been compared to Cirque du Soleil with a little bit of Ringling Brothers in there because, Cirque du Soleil has a French twist and we're an American show.
Yeah, and Ben, do you think that's something that the local population will kind of want to see too?
Yes, certainly. If you look at the venue, I think one of the advantages that we have, as Tuffy said, it's almost purpose built for this. But more importantly, there will be a great deal of intimacy. So there will not be a bad seat in the house. I think the worst seat in the house, you're probably going to be 30 feet away from the ring. Right. And so there's three types of seats. There's VIP seats, there's VIP preferred, and then there's ringside seats. And so all told, we'll have almost 1,000 seats inside of the pavilion and then a very large concession area. But yeah, certainly I think it will be a great entertainment option for families on the island. Because it's a traditional circus. Of course, it's nestled in the heart of PIC's water park. And so I'm sure there will be lots of folks that want to come and spend the weekend at PIC and go to the water park and go to the circus and just make a great weekend out of it.
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. and IT&E.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. and IT&E.
Yeah, and speaking of the water park, and I think you touched on it a little bit earlier about how PIC has kind of become this family-oriented, but when you first started, I think it was kind of modeled after the old, Club Med?
Yeah,
PIC
we're
club mates.
going way back, Nestor.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Tell us about that evolution of
Yeah,
PIC.
certainly when I got out here in 1989, working with PIC, not to date myself, but yeah, it was certainly a little bit of a different vibe. We catered to Japanese OLs, office ladies, and young couples. There really wasn't much of a Korean market then. And then even in the mid to late 90s, the Korean market really wasn't as much family oriented. It was really in the 2000s, somewhere around 2005, that PIC made a decision to market itself very strongly to the family market, partly because of all of the families that were visiting the island. And we're very well suited to cater to that market. We've got the largest kids club on the island. And a lot of the things that we developed over the years have been mimicked by other properties, which of course is a great sign of flattery for us. And so we've always been very well positioned to cater to the family market. Lots of pools, lots of water slides and activities and all of those things. And so the circus was just a perfect fit for us.
Yeah, and Tuffy, as you agree with Ben, that the circus is a perfect fit for kind of like a family-oriented water park kind of theme.
It's perfect. I mean, that's the best word I can use to describe the way it looks to a circus producer. 10 years ago or so, we brought a show here. And again, they were our partners they were the official hotel of the Super American Circus. And went back there and saw that facility and said, man, this is perfect. Then it was tennis, and tennis was probably more popular then, and they already had a show going on. But we've been really planning or working on doing a show here for a long time.
Yeah.
And here we go.
Tell us about the timing of this. We're still. Sorry.
We lost you a little bit there. But
Oh, no,
I think
Ben, I
I
was
understood
going to
your
ask you
question
maybe.
in terms of timing.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that you asked that question because as I alluded to earlier, we were ready to go in March of 2020. And then, of course, the pandemic hit. And we went through a couple of fits and starts over the last couple of years wanting to get things started because obviously both parties have made an investment. But at the end of the day, in order to make this work, we do need tourism on the island. This is going to be a great opportunity for residents to be able to see the circus, but the population of the island is such that over time, that wouldn't be enough to sustain us for a long-term engagement. And so we went through many different conversations about when we would start it. And I think our timing is good. With July, we're expecting more and more visitors from the Korean market. The Japanese market will have started traveling more at that point. Now, obviously, the modeling that we did to, as we discussed, putting the circus here at PIC had everything to do with 2019 visitor arrival levels. We understand fully that we're not going to be at that point, certainly not in 2022 and probably not in 2023 either. It may be 2024 until we get back to that point. But at the end of the day, our cost structure is such that we can still put on a very, very good show. And being a part of a hotel group, PHR Kin Micronesia, gives us some advantages. We have 6 hotels in our group, and so this will be a great opportunity for visitors at those hotels to see the island, but just visitors to Guam in general. And I think it was also important to send a message that Guam is back and that we're ready to welcome tourists. It also provides a great employment opportunity for folks, both on the circus side and the PIC side as well. So I think that the timing is just about right. We'll do a very, I think we'll do great in the resident market. And then as the resident market, more and more of those folks see the circus and we segue into tourism towards the third and first quarter of the year, then I think we'll be in good shape for it. But most importantly, it's a great destination enhancement.
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises Inc. and IT&E.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises Inc. and IT&E.
Absolutely, and I think you make a great point there. It's a sign that we're starting the recovery, right? putting our best foot forward. It's not like, if we open the circus, they will come. It's more like, yeah, we're going to get ready for a return, eventual recovery.
Yep, that's how we looked at it as well. And yeah, there's yeah, as you can imagine, doing something of this nature, there is some cost involved, and so a little bit of a leap of faith. But at some point, you got to make that leap of faith.
Yeah. And how long do you think we're how far are we away from this full recovery to pre-pandemic levels?
Boy, I wish I could look into my crystal ball and answer that one, Nestor. It depends on who you ask. Our folks in Korea feel that the second half of the year, we should be able to get to somewhere between 30 and 40% of 2019 visitor arrival numbers on a monthly basis. And that by 2023, we should be somewhere between 60 and 70% of 2019 visitor arrival levels. That's in the Korean market. I think the Japan market's going to lag that quite a bit. But at the end of the day, I think it's still the numbers are sufficient to be able to allow us to do something of this nature. And I hope that the numbers are sufficient for all of our optional tour operators to get back on their feet. All of the optional tours here on the island are extremely important to the destination. The hotels have been able to hang in there during the pandemic, but we really need our optional tour industry back on its feet.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you, how have the hotels managed to stay on their feet? How have you been able kind of to maintain yourselves through this very unprecedented lull?
Well, I think that question depends entirely on who the owner of the hotel is. King Corporation has been steadfast in their support of our hotels here on the island throughout the pandemic, despite the fact that occupancy levels have been extremely low at some hotels. Certainly military business over the last couple of years has helped. But at the end of the day, that only goes so far, right? But like everyone, we've been through furloughs, and we've been through some layoffs and cost-cutting measures to try and sustain ourselves during the pandemic. We were successful in not actually having to close our doors like some of the hotels here on the island. But I think it's just one of those things where you day to day, you look at it and try your best to keep those operating losses as small as possible.
And do you think there will be some properties that won't be able to reopen?
I have not. Well, that's a good question. You read the paper and you see that some of the hotels that were closed are opening. I'd like to think that everybody can get back on their feet. Some later rather than sooner, but certainly as a destination, we need that hotel room inventory. If you go back to 2019, before the pandemic, all of our hotels were achieving a very high occupancy level. So I don't think that Guam has a lot going for it, and we've got a great product. So I think it's just simply a matter of time for everyone to get back up on their feet.
Yeah, and I imagined, and I think you guys call it keys, right? Room inventory. There was a lot of talk about the need for more and more of that. Do you think any projects that were in the planning stages pre-pandemic are now looking towards restarting?
I would think that they would be. I think the timing is right for that. A lot of those projects were probably 3 or 4 years out anyway. So I would think that they would be seriously considering getting restarted. I think everybody has been somewhat thoughtful in the process of the recovery. And so there are probably those folks that are investing in this industry that are sitting back and waiting a little bit longer to see if everything shakes out like we all want it to shake out. But yeah, I think that Guam still has a very bright future in terms of hotel investment and hotel growth.
That's good to hear, because we need it. Obviously, the pandemic has taken its toll on us, and I think everybody's anxious to get back to where we were, and then from there grow further as we had planned to do prior to COVID hitting us. Well, all right,
we're 4 hours away from these great source markets. We've got a world-class airport. Our hotels are 5 minutes away from the airport. Those are great things to have. So those things aren't going away. So I think it's just, as I said, I think it's just a matter of time.
All right, I want to wind this up by getting back to the circus. And I'll start with you, Tuffy. Please invite the people of Guam to come down to the PIC once the circus opens.
Half a day, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages of Guam, please join us at the Super American Circus.
Sound just like one of those, what do you call them?
Ring mats.
Yeah. And you, Ben, let's wind up with you. Please invite the folks to come down to the PIC.
Yes, please join us on July 1st or anytime after July 1st. We're not going anywhere. The circus isn't here for a limited engagement. It will be here for quite some time. So, ladies and gentlemen, come on down, bring the kids, and enjoy the circus at PIC.
That's the Super American Service, and that's Ben Ferguson and Tuffy Nicholas. Thanks for joining us, gentlemen.
Thanks, Nestor.
All right. I'm Nestor Licanto. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you again next week on In Full Zoom.
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. and IT&E.